from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin on the 108. Trenton Johnson from Portage, Michigan on the 27X. Reed Klinger from Athens, Wisconsin on the 221. Kendra Westland from Strathcona, Minnesota on the 113. Tavish Perry from Eagle River on the 85X. Dylan Bradner from Medford, Wisconsin on the 2B. And Kale Balo from Waupun on the 34X.
So stacking them up here, F500, we're going to pick up the pace tremendously. 29 entries coming in here for this 22nd running of the Vintage World Championship Snowmobile Races at Eagle River, Wisconsin. If you're tuning in watching on Facebook, welcome aboard here on Flow Racing. So we get set to go and continue on through this day. And Becky, it looks like you got something to say.
I do. Kendra Westland, Papa Seasoning has $100 on you to win this race. You win this race, and Papa Seasonings has $100 for you.
We'll find out if she can pull it off. Bill Connell got the whole shot down the inside, 3 wide for the number 2 spot. Out turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Westland just getting abused in the middle of that. That was a Kendra sandwich down there, and unfortunately, she got shuffled back into P4. It's a little charge shot in the shorts, rider off, red flag coming out. Got unbalanced there, and that's one of the issues when on this ice oval race. You got to hang so much weight over the left-hand side to keep that thing glued down to the surface. If you get a little nudge or a little bump and you're not expecting it, just skidooch, you're off the sled and sitting on the ice. So a little check there. We'll get that sled fired back off again. But F500 coming out here, and as we mentioned, race number 23 on the day, 105 on tap on this opening night. We do race Friday night. Now tomorrow and Sunday, it's day racing only, so no nighttime portions over the next 2 days. But we will be racing. Maybe people checking us out have never seen ice oval racing. The starting line floats because of the hole shots. So they got picks or studs in these tracks. You'll see the riders stand up and slam the sled down onto the ice. They're digging those picks down into the ice to get a good hole shot. And so you have to move the starting line around, or they'll just dig a big divot down into the racetrack. The marks, the colored marks you see on the ice, that is actually track lube. So the tracks are lubricated with a lube tank you see hanging on the back of the sleds there. Uses a biodegradable, basically RV antifreeze that lubricates the tracks. Normally when you ride a snowmobile, it's lubricated by the snow. In this case, that's not the case. So Kendra has to start back on that second row at the orange cone down there as she brought out the red flag. So she'll rotate around on the 113. We'll try this again.
Yeah, that is for a red flag or anybody who jumps the line. That's how far back they have to start. We haven't had any of that yet, thankfully.
Not so far. Everybody's been pretty patient here on the starting line. Todd getting ready to cut them loose. Green flag goes up. Hole shot again for the 221 sled. Reed Klinger down into the corner, crosses over to the snoot. Hang on to it, Reed. We got one around and a rider off again. They're just not having a happy time. Unusual to see in this category, especially in the F500. So we'll get that one pointed around, but everybody going for that real estate down on the inside of the racetrack. It gets real crowded real fast in that general vicinity. So third time's a charm, perhaps. But sleds purpose-built out here. I say purpose-built. These were all factory sleds. Everything from the 1990s and older on this vintage weekend. Next weekend is the World Championship weekend. That's when you see your modern sleds coming out here in a little bigger CCs. Pretty much the biggest sleds that you see out here, for the most part, are 440s, although we do have the Relic Mod 800, which are absolutely incredible beasts. But Kendra picking up that green flag that time paid her penalty, so she gets to go back to the original starting line and will not have to start on the second row. So that was a lucky break for her.
It is, but now the 108 will have to be back there, and that's Bill Connell.
Yes, the Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin racer will have to start on the second row. Hey, if you want to tune in and watch more of this racing action, you do it with the Flow Racing. So she wants to start back on the second row for some reason. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but Kendra opting to start second row. Talked to the official. She said, I want to be back there. So, yeah, her choice. So I think she's going to let things sort out. She feels better about maybe the start back there and can kind of see where people are going to be instead of being in the scrum down in turn number 1 and 2. Regardless, another good hole shot for Reed on the 221 sled. Going to lead him out of turn number 2 yet again. 0-3 wide for third back on the field. Charge down into the corner. This should be interesting. Coming onto the front straightaway. A lot of speed being carried into the dust down that end of the racetrack. It's crossover move coming out of the 108. Bill Connell coming from the second row. He's already weaseled his way up to P3 as he works across the nose. Down into the corners. Up front, still the 221 showing away. Reed Klinger's got a nice gap on him. Power slides it down into turn number 3 and 4. Drags the knee and brings her onto the front straightaway. Meanwhile, back behind, Connell now in P2 on the field. Kendra having some issues with her sled. That thing just not coming up to speed for whatever reason from back in the mid pack, or back at the tail of the field, I should say. We're only taking the top 5 into the semi. As out of the corner we come. Checkered flag coming out on this first heat race for F500. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is going to be a 34X. Hanging on to that final one for Kale. So that will do it for race number 23.